Hi there. Good morning. I'm Katie Dutcher from Flourish and Bloom, and thanks for joining me. Um, every week we do a short meditation prefaced by a little bit of explanation about it. Excuse me. Um, and today is about letting go of shoulds. So letting go of the kind of expectations that don't help us, that don't benefit us, and that actually can get in the way. And so whenever I talk about this, I always feel like I need to add a little disclaimer to kind of say, we're not talking here about just going kind of with the flow in terms of like not having goals or not being able to change the world when it needs to be changed, or to make changes in your own life that benefit you. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the kind of little running commentary of this should be this way, this should be that way, I shouldn't have to do this, I shouldn't have had to tell you that, you shouldn't have acted that way. All these kind of past or present, future oriented expectations, and they can be really little things. They can also be really big things. These kind of like rules that we hold in our head. For example, if people are going to be polite or people are going to show that they respect me, this is how they will behave. That's a pretty big should that often just lies there under the surface. And so part of this is, with everything, the first part is being aware of noticing that that's even happening. And then there's just the idea of kind of noticing what is actually happening in reality, noticing what the moment is holding, and just being with that, letting the should kind of float away as it will, and to the best of your ability. So this for most of us is a change, and so knowing that a new relating to these shoulds, it takes time, it takes practice, just like anything. So I can explain a little bit. I can give one example that's actually happening right now in this very moment. So in the apartment complex where I live, someone moved out, and they're taking the opportunity to, I guess, renovate or do something to one of the apartments near mine. And so this morning, before even 7 o'clock, there was some loud power sawing going on. And at different times, there's sawing and hammering, and, just, the people who are working kind of walk around just talking really loud to each other. I'm kind of laughing about this because I guess because as I'm talking about it, I can see that, like, hey, that's just not that big of a deal. That's just what's happening right now. But at the same time, you can imagine I'm thinking like, oh, I'm gonna have this meditation. It should be quiet, right? It's the morning. That's when I scheduled these meditations, because it should be quiet, and they really shouldn't be working so early in the morning, right? And also, people live here, so they should walk up to each other and speak in normal voices rather than kind of shouting across the courtyard as if they're the only people in the world. You can hear, because it's coming out now, the actual shoulds that I have a tendency to hold about this. I'm in my home. I want to do my thing. I want to do the thing I planned, and I want it to be the way I want it to be. And so I, in a way, I'm glad this is happening, because this is the perfect time to work with this. What am I going to do about this? Nothing. I'm really not. I guess I could go ask them to conform to all my shoulds and wishes, but I don't really think they would, and I actually don't think, for the most part, that I have a right really to say these things or to make these requests. I know that if I did make the requests and then they said, "Oh no, we don't care about that," that probably I would be a little more upset because they should be respectful to me, right? So basically, right now, I know that I'm not going to take any action on, making a change. And so the most beneficial thing that I can do right now is to let go of the shoulds, is to just be with the fact that that what's happening is happening. I mean, right now, like now, in this second, there's no sounds. So I could just be upset about the sawing that was happening a few minutes ago, or I could enjoy what's actually happening right now, whether there's noise or not. Is that making sense? This is a meditation video, so I'm going to stop talking about that example, and we're going to go into a short meditation. So go ahead and lie down or sit down, and I'll begin by ringing the bell. So as always, letting yourself slowly settle in. Adjusting your body so that you can feel comfortable as well as awake, alert. And right from the outset, just a quick checking in to notice, are there any shoulds here already? Is there any kind of subconscious thought about how this meditation should be for you? Or how you would like to be affected by this meditation, how you'd like to feel. Often we might come in with this expectation of feeling very calm and refreshed. And note that any expectation like this, there's nothing wrong about that. This judging mind, this evaluative mind that we have, it just does this. So I'm not knocking that, but just shining a light. Perhaps you just notice that, you just let that be. Perhaps shining a light on it actually dissolves it a little bit, and you're able to simply have the intention of just being with whatever happens, just being with this time, whatever it holds. Feeling your body as you sit or lie here. Being with sensations, being with cool, warm, pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral, neither pleasant nor unpleasant. And with all of it, seeing if you can just let it be the way it is. Let yourself sense what is occurring just the way it is, not clouded by the way you wish it were or the way you feel it should be, but just the clarity of the experience itself. Beginning to sense your breath. And I think most often being with the rhythm of the breath can be soothing, partly because we know how to let the breath just be. We know how to trust that the body is bringing in a breath and then releasing it in just the right way. We have ample practice with this process throughout our lives, so in a way we can be released from that judging or that controlling part of ourselves, just letting ourselves breathe. You'll notice that as you breathe, as you have this intention of being with the breath, that thoughts are still passing through, that attention is pulled away a little or a lot. And is that okay? Is it okay with you that this is how attention behaves. When you find yourself drifting into thought or far down the road of thought, is it possible to just return, to just be right back here in the present, here with a new breath, without that whisper of whether or not this should have happened? Because it does happen. It happens to me, it happens to everyone. We think, the mind drifts, and then we return. This is the way of it. Feeling yourself sitting here or lying here, body, mind, and heart together, just as you are. As we're able to release more and more from shoulds and to live more and more in the moment as it is, we begin to have more choice rather than less. When we surrender to this moment, we are free then to do with this moment what we will. And as we release ourselves from all of these useless expectations, we'll find that we can release others as well. And by letting go of these useless expectations for others, we may be able to actually connect a little more on a real level from the point of view of this actual moment, what is actually occurring. May this be so. May we cultivate more and more presence, the ability to just be here, just as we are. Thanks for sitting with me today. Yesterday I posted an article from Huffington Post. I believe it was by Nancy Collier, and it was kind of part of what got me thinking about this topic. So you'd be able to find that, I think, on my timeline if you want to read it. It's a really good explanation, diving into this a little bit more. So I'm wishing you well, and I'll see you next week.